Hey guys, what's up? Serpentine19 here, taking a look at the Sony press conference at E3. Alright, let's get straight into it with what they showed first. They went straight into Destiny. This was sort of like a mashup trailer. It had quite a bit of backstory and introduced you to one of the companion characters, which is actually voiced by Peter Dinklage. It's this a little robot thing that follows you around. So yeah, we got introduced to that. And then they also announced that they'll be releasing a white PlayStation 4 in when Destiny releases. So there'll be this package where you can buy a white PlayStation 4 that comes with Destiny. It's not sure if Destiny the game will factor into the price yet. They didn't release that, but it's gonna be a bundle at least. And then they went through some of the exclusives that PlayStation has with Destiny, such as it'll be releasing its beta on July 17th, which is I believe 4 days before Microsoft gets it, and it's actually going to give PlayStation 4 users a brief look at it really early on, with an alpha coming this Thursday. Next up was The Order 1886. A little bit disappointed by this. When I first saw this last year at last year's E3, it looked really interesting. The gameplay, if you can call it that, which was shown at this year's E3 was pretty much just a cutscene, very scripted. There was no real player input. We did get introduced to one of the enemies, which was a werewolf. That was pretty cool because you saw the transformation of him. But other than that, pretty much all I could take from it was that it was dark, it's going to have QTEs. And yeah, that was pretty much it. Very scripted game, I think. Next up was an indie title, actually made by students, I believe, which was called Entwined. It was kind of like this free running game that we've been seeing quite a bit of lately. Yeah, it was just it was like a co-op game with two different characters, and you're trying to get them through certain puzzles to get to the end. And that game was actually released during the conference. It came out at $9.99, I think, so people could have picked it up right then and there. Next up was the announcement for the standalone DLC for Infamous Second Son. So this game, it's called First Light. This game can be played without Infamous Second Son, completely standalone. Obviously you'll need a PlayStation 4 though. But yeah, it's basically centered around this girl with, I think it was neon powers. I'm not really familiar with the title, but that's what it kind of looked like. That'll be available sometime in August this year. Next up was Little Big Planet 3. Not much really changed with this from the previous version. Basically you've got 3 more characters to play around with. You can go back. What's the best way to explain this? It's a little bit more 3D in the fact that you can have a platform in front and you can jump to a platform in the background, or vice versa. So yeah, they've added more depth to it, and slightly more content with pickups and puzzles based around the new characters. Bloodborne, or as many of you would have seen before this, Project Beasts. So yeah, Bloodborne as it was released, or was called now. What I took from it, it was just a CGI trailer, but what I took from it was this kind of Wild West zombie based Dark Souls. Obviously there's going to be guns. It was kind of showcased in the trailer a little bit, but yeah, that will be coming later this year. Not much more to say about that. Far Cry 4, which was a little bit different from Ubisoft's. It had a little bit more gameplay in it. Showed you how you could go from one mission into another mission. It's kind of cool. Impressive visually. yeah, the graphics in this game look beautiful. An interesting feature that's only available on the PlayStation Network is that you can actually have friends come in and co-op play with you even if they don't own Far Cry 4, which is very interesting. I wonder how that will actually work, because obviously they're going to have to download the game, I guess, but not have access to it all the time. So, but yeah, it's a nice feature to have there. And yeah, that's pretty much for Far Cry 4. Dead Island 2. This was just a quick CGI trailer of some guy running down a street and turning into a zombie, pretty much, with a whole lot of chaos going on behind him. Basically all I took from this was that it's going to have a 30-day exclusive beta on PS4. That's, yeah, pretty much all I got from it. Then there was this mention of a Diablo 3 crossover with The Last of Us. This was fairly brief. It's just that clickers are going to be enemies in Diablo 3 now. So yeah, that's interesting. Battlefield Hardline came up next. It was like this weird mishmash of the EA gameplay run through and some of their own footage for PS4. Basically, there's an exclusive beta on PS4 now. It actually started when... You've actually probably heard of it already. It started on the actual day. But yeah, nothing new to take from that. Then Magica II was announced. It had a great live action trailer at the start. Very funny. But otherwise, the actual gameplay they showed, it's Magica. That's pretty much all I can say. That's what it looked like. Then Grim Fandango was announced, a remastered version for PS4 and PS Vita only. A lot of praise for that. But yeah. Next up was this kind of like indie lineup that's going to be releasing on the PlayStation 4, which included Broforce, Hotline Miami 2, The Talos Principle, Not a Hero, and Titan's Souls. Then they showed off this kind of mishmash of a CGI trailer and not a CGI trailer, a live action trailer and a gameplay trailer for a game called Let It Die. What I got from this was it's kind of like a action RPG, zombie horror game kind of thing. Yeah. Then Abzu came up, which is a new game from the Journey developers. This game is kind of like an underwater adventure. It had a really cool art style. Gameplay was kind of still questionable. Couldn't really tell what was the goal and stuff like that. I have a feeling it is just going to be like a pure adventure, go search around the environment kind of game. No Man's Sky was showed up next, which, wow, this game looks impressive. Beautiful landscapes. The creatures they showed off this time round were pretty amazing. And this really cool thing they've got going is when you can get in the spaceship, you can actually fly in and out of planets seamlessly, which is really cool. One thing I would have liked to see is kind of what the goal of the game is. Like, they showed that you can identify animals for scientific reasons or whatever. But other than that, there didn't seem to be a goal, so this might just be a complete sandbox game, which could be interesting. You can go underwater, on land, into space, and have space battles with other ships. You can actually fly down into planets and take the fight from space down onto the planet, which can end up with some really cool gameplay. But yeah, that was pretty cool. Next up, they had this quite a big section for their hardware. They talked about their camera, had a quick poke at Microsoft's Kinect being mandatory. They really quickly showed Morpheus. I thought they were going to have more of a feature on the Morpheus, which is that VR headset, but unfortunately they didn't. Then they had a free-to-play feature which showed a whole lot of free-to-play games that will be coming to the PlayStation 4, which included like War Thunder, PlanetSide 2, and a couple of other games. Then they announced the open beta for PlayStation Now, which is their streaming platform to get old PlayStation games onto the new console. So yeah, that open beta will be beginning in July for the PS4, and will be coming later for the Vita, PS3, and Sony TVs. They finally cut from all their hardware talk and went into a Mortal Kombat X gameplay trailer thing. This looked pretty good. The environments were awesome, great 3D to them. You can actually use the environment to help you in the fight, and being a Mortal Kombat game, yeah, it was appropriately gruesome in its finishes. But yeah, that looks really good. Then they went on to this new kind of like TV exclusives for PlayStation 4, which is what Microsoft did last E3, where they announced that. They announced Powers, which will be coming out. I think the first episode was available right then and there, I think. But yeah, I think that went too long. They brought out one of the creators of the comic that it's originated from, and I think he had a bit too much airtime, but nevertheless. Then the Ratchet and Clank movie trailer was shown. This movie actually looks great too. Really good comedy bits in it. It has its 2015 release date as well, so we'll be seeing it really soon, which is good. And they kept with the art style. It looks great. Then The Last of Us Remastered was announced for the PS4. Not much to say here. It's a prettier version of the game. Then Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, the trailer, which was leaked the night before, unfortunately for them, because this trailer was pretty amazing. The song they chose for it fit in perfectly. The actual trailer was great. Didn't really show gameplay, it was pretty much all CGI, but it was a really good trailer, and if they can achieve what that trailer looked like in the actual game, that is going to be one beautiful game. Next up is GTA 5's PS4 release. Again, with like The Last of Us Remastered, it's just going to be prettier, run faster, pretty much. And then they announced the Batman Arkham Knight trailer. This is looks pretty similar to the other Arkham games. What I could take from it that was slightly different was that there's a lot more height. You can go a lot higher in the maps, as was seen at the very start of that trailer, where he jumped from this really massive building and just fell for a really long time. Then there was the integration with the Batmobile, which was really cool. It turning into a bat tank and everything. And then it cut to this Scarecrow little section, which is going to be an exclusive for the PS4. It's going to be a set of side missions featuring Scarecrow. They actually made that cut really well. A lot of people thought it was a technical issue, but once they actually showed the Scarecrow in the trailer, that was terrific. And then finally, to close it all out, they showed a CGI trailer for Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. Not much really to talk about this though, unfortunately. Pretty much it was just Nathan Drake waking up on a beach, and some guy talking about, like a therapist talking to him or something, which is actually kind of similar to the Tomb Raider trailer from Microsoft's conference. But yeah, Uncharted 4 will be coming out in 2015. Alright, that's it for the Sony conference. Like, rate, subscribe. At the end of this video there'll be links to the other conferences, and I'll see you guys next time.